Woohoo! There's another week. There's another guest, and we have that was super random. That's what I
Yeah.
can't announce to do something randomly. What is happening? Yeah, I mean, doing some stuff randomly is perfectly fine as long as it's planned and well announced, I guess. Anyways, Liz, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having me. Yeah, really good, thank you.
Our pleasure. You want to tell us a little bit about you?
Yep, my name's Liz Hardy. I have recently joined Data Masterminds and I work as a data platform engineer. I am very lucky enough to work alongside Jess and some very clever people who are amazing to work with. So that's a bit about me so far.
I got a counter question. So you said you're working with Jess and some clever
Yep.
people. Is that?
Yeah, they were separate, weren't they? I felt like that too.
Jess is very clever.
I'm just the pretty one. You know, we've got to have one.
Yeah, that's it. At a certain size of a company, and I guess Data Masterminds really is there at this point. You really need to just have one friendly face, and it's clearly not William or Elko. So I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Oh, everyone's been lovely. So yeah, it's
that's
it's
just
really
a facade.
exciting.
You don't know William like I do. He's a horrible person. No, William, I love you. I have no idea what is happening here. Who's in charge of this entire thing?
The podcast. Back to the podcast.
Oh, we're doing. We're recording. I didn't notice. I thought we were practicing. So, what is it you say you're a data engineer. So I assume it's kind of a DBA-ish background. Does that make sense?
Very much so. Yeah. So I started as a junior DBA probably about 7 years ago. At a previous place, I used to work at an airline, and it was a very busy environment. Everything kind of, needing to fix things, using lots of new technologies. It was a really good place to learn. And now I'm at Data Masterminds, and we kind of go in and help clients and give advice. And I'm sort of drawing on that DBA knowledge that I've acquired, but I'm still always learning because DBA is such a massive role, and there's so many new things to look after and understand. So yeah, it's really good. I'm enjoying it.
So since you've been doing this for a couple of years, I assume you've seen a couple of things. What's your favorite data thing? It can be a tool, it can be a feature, it can be anything as long as it's data related.
So for me, I am now starting to get back on track, which might sound a bit odd, but I've always been quite interested in things like performance tuning. I'm starting to go down that route now, and it's always been a bit of a minefield because I've needed time to sort of dedicate to understanding it and understanding the code, what kind of triggers like slow performance, and I guess the history to that is I used to do report writing. So I used to work in producing my own sort of Crystal reports. Used to use Access Database, a lot of Excel, generate a lot of MI through that. I started tinkering with things like Power BI and Tableau back in the day, when it first started. And then unfortunately, I kind of moved out of that and went into DBA instead, and I didn't use those tools as much, whereas now we can kind of pick those things up a bit more readily. But I always wondered, I'm clicking this button, I've made this report, but why is it running quite slow? So to me, it's quite interesting to look at, all right, how can we speed that up? What is making that slow? So that was the plan. Obviously, I learned a lot of DBA things along the way, and because there was less time to kind of really get into the technical for me, I ended up with quite a lot of soft skills being useful as well. So I went into leadership. I became a team lead. And so all my plans of going down the performance tuning, right, that's going to be a specialism, kind of got put on hold. And yeah, I was all about kind of, being a bit of an advocate for my team, making sure that they were all okay and had everything they needed. But I was also a point of contact for everyone. and things just got really busy. So, it was really hard to get into that technical stuff. But now I've got that time to focus and, to really start getting into that. So it's exciting. I like the fact that, sorry.
No, go on.
No, I just like the fact that with data, there's so many different things you can get involved in. And, I did enjoy the report writing side, but I am very interested in what else you can do, how you can speed things up and other tools that you can use along the way. I'd like to get back to using things like Power BI and maybe Tableau again, just to see how things have moved on as well from, back when I did original report writing. So, but I also like the fact that, a part of the appeal of the report writing I did was the data and how you can provide that to management and how that can influence business decisions. And that is something that I guess helped lead me onto the leadership path as well, because I was looking at things like putting processes in place and, a bit of data governance, those kind of things as well. So it's given me quite a varied career, which has been really interesting. So, and it continues.
I was going to say, isn't that what makes data exciting? That it has so many facets that actually, no matter which role you're in, you will never be just basically on the data shop floor doing the same thing over and over again, because every day will kind of be different.
Definitely.
I was also slightly giggling about the performance tuning thing, not because you said, because it reminded me of two stories. Jess already knows them. My two favorite performance tuning stories in recent times that I've seen at customers was one case where a table had more partitions than rows. I mean, it's always good to have some spare capacity. And the other one where the customer was super proud how they've improved their ETL runtimes. Well, turns out they just deleted like 90% of the data, which made the report slightly wrong, but they were super fast. So there's all kinds of performance tuning again.
I feel like performance tuning is like a black art, like a dark
Absolutely.
Magic, because I was talking with Claudio about this morning. Like, he was like, "Oh, look at this like pattern. Like, what we'll do to fix this is do this." He's like, "But that worked here, but the almost exact same situation over here, it doesn't work for at all. And instead, we need to do this." It's like, there's too much like art, I want it to be more black and white. But
I think that's what's so fascinating about it. Yeah, it's so fascinating because I think as humans, you kind of want to have sort of, black and white rules to kind of follow, and it's completely the opposite of that. You can't have a set rules to follow. You can maybe have a methodology and try and apply that each time, but even that changes. So it seems a very hard thing to grasp, but that makes me more keen to want to get into that. It's a niche,
and
it annoys you.
I did some excellent performance tuning last week. I took a query that was running in like 16 seconds and I made it run in 17 seconds. So not ideal. I gave it to Claudio. He made it run in 3. So I guess in the end we got there, but I'm not sure it's my forte.
I mean, 16 to 17, that's a rounding difference. You didn't do
enough
things wrong. That's kind of what I'm saying. I mean, you could have put in like a proper cross join in there on itself.
Well, I made it into a pivot. I thought it would be so cool.
I could have made it an hour long. So
we're going there now. Interesting. I mean, I was kind of shocked when the T word, as in Tableau, came up, but now we're doing pivoting. I mean, seriously.
Well, only because Friends is my favorite show, right? And so I just think of Ross yelling pivot on the stairs. That's how I do all my performance tuning. I just take inspiration from comedy shows and sprinkle it in.
So this is just a joke to you?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing.
I mean, I was kind of impressed when Jess showed up in a polo shirt. It was like, okay, Jess, she's a professional.
Yeah,
professional and fancy. And now I feel like, again, just another facade. Just again,
it's like a polo shirt and a hoodie, so it's like a balance. It's like a bit fancy, but then I put my hoodie back on.
Fair. Yeah, I get that.
I tried for you, Ben.
I'm wearing a t-shirt under my hoodie, just saying, because I'm not fancy like that.
That's what I usually do. Anyway, again, focus, professionals. So,
Yeah,
Liz,
I need to have some reminder blinking here. That's like,
where's the button? Press the sound.
Yeah.
Then again, you told me not to worry if it goes blurry, so I thought, I don't have to focus. So
yeah, just a little bit in the corners of your eyes. It's totally fine, totally normal.
I mean, with these glasses, it is really hard to focus.
Yeah. Anyway, Liz, you told us about your favorite data thing. The next thing we usually ask our guests is your favorite non-data thing. So do you want to share that with us?
Besides this podcast.
Obviously.
That's the given, right? Your second favorite non-data.
Well, yeah.
Exactly.
So mine would probably be netball, which is, it seems to be doing a bit of a comeback. So I don't know if any of you guys follow it, but the England women's team have done very well over previous years.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course you can.
I'm not really following it, but I have a follow-up question. What does it even mean?
I was going to ask if you played netball in Germany. Yeah, okay.
I might follow it if I'd ever heard of what it is. So
you don't get
I have
to
no idea what it is.
Learn about it, right? Okay. Well, you have 7 players on each side, and basically it's you attack and defend. You try and get the ball into the net, basically. But
netball, get it, Ben?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Thank you, Jess, for just explaining that to me.
It's sometimes compared to basketball, but you can't bounce the ball and you can't dribble with it, and you've got 2 shooters rather than, I think, basketball everyone in the team can shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got more kind of static positions, but that's not to say the game is static. It is quite fast nowadays, and there's quite a lot of rules to it as well. So half of getting into it is learning those as you go, and it's just a really good social thing for me. Being sort of a remote worker now, it's really good to still get out and socialize with people. It's a really good way of doing exercise where you've committed to your team and you're going to be playing 2-3 nights a week. And there's even mixed leagues that you can play as well, so that's quite good fun. I found myself marking one of the male England players before, which was a bit of a shock. But yeah, it's really good fun. I thoroughly recommend it. But it's just my my hobby.
Growing up, Ben, it was one of the sports that girls would play in school here.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went to
I
America,
shall go check out the recording of that, because honestly, I think I got a rough idea of what's happening. So basically, you're just combining volleyball, basketball, proper football, and
a little bit.
I mean, baseball. Why not? All into one game.
There's no
a little bit of rugby, I guess.
There's no bands.
There's a bit of there's a bit of contact now. They say it's a non-contact sport, but I would argue differently. Seen a few injuries happen on court, and it's a lot faster paced than it was at school as well. So a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's quite a slow sport, but it seems to have transformed over, the time I've been playing it anyway. And that's, I can't even remember when I started picking it up. It's probably about 8 years, something like that now. And I'm just playing until my knees basically don't work anymore. So
I'll be honest, I pretty much didn't play it in school because of the non-contact thing, and I just kept getting thrown out.
You'd be all right now.
So maybe I'll be all right.
Get on with it.
The other problem was that you were required to wear a skirt to play netball in school, and I just forgot mine every time for some reason.
To be fair, you'd be all right. You'd be all right with that now. There's no uniform. You might have dresses, but that seems to be much higher leagues that tend to do that nowadays. So. But it's good fun, they do tournaments and things, and it's a really good social thing to do. But that's kind of my main one. Other than that, I'm trying to get back into doing a bit of pottery, which I picked up probably a couple of years ago now. So I've been doing pottery on the wheel so that's quite fun.
That's cool.
And I have actually bought my own wheel, so I need to get back to it now. I've invested in one, so I'll try making some mugs.
For your designs.
Yeah. So trying to get the creativity back.
One of our previous guests was mentioning an Etsy store, so maybe you could join forces.
Yeah, definitely.
Isn't the general idea of Etsy that you do not join forces, but you're just selling your own stuff? I mean, are you just breaking their entire business model, Jazz?
Yep.
Well, if I've got anything worth selling, then yeah, I was getting pretty good at it, but I need to get back into it now. And it was quite therapeutic. I found it's quite a nice hobby to have. But yeah, it's fitting it all in around obviously data as well, keeping up to speed with everything. Everything's so fast paced that it's finding time to do everything.
What is happening?
What is that noise?
I have no idea how that just happened. It must have been some technical difficulties. I get these a lot these days. Probably someone hacked into my Zencastr.
That wouldn't happen then.
Why me? But anyways, it was really fun chatting to you and getting to know you for a little bit.
And you?
What people did not hear, because we were talking about that before the show. Liz and I almost got to meet at SQL Bits. Almost, but we're going to fix that.
We are, yes.
At the next available opportunity as it presents itself. Before we let you go, how can people get in touch with you if they either want to chat more about performance tuning or pottery or netball? I'm probably going to have a lot of questions after watching a video.
Yeah, go for it. Follow-up questions, that's fine. Probably my best one would be LinkedIn for now. That's probably the one I do focus on. I will no doubt get back on things like Twitter, but I'm just limiting my social media at the minute. So just due to time constraints, but LinkedIn's probably the best one to start with, and reach out.
Awesome. Good stuff. So thank you so much. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you for having me.
This was another very fun episode. Thank you, everyone, and see you next time. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.